G'day guys, Rukshani, and thanks for joining me for the news vlog. I hope you've all had an awesome weekend, no matter where you're watching from. Thanks again for tuning in for another one of my news vlogs. So today I'm going to be talking about a few stories from Australia and then some others from around the world. And I won't get too deep, dark, or controversial. I'll keep it pretty lighthearted today, and hopefully we have a few laughs along the way as well. First up, it's a story from Australia about traffic sign holders or stop sign holders, and we always see these clickbaity articles about them, right? You get this story like, some chick holding up a stop sign and she's getting paid like, 170K, and she's complaining how it's not enough. And they have some accompanying photos of her lavish lifestyle that she lives. And then there's a few shots of her, trades where we always get these clickbaity articles. Well, now it looks like someone that's going to be formalized, at least in terms of pay structures, with this new deal that's being struck by the CFMEU. So let's have a look at this article and I'll give you some of my thoughts on this. Labourers on a 36-hour week to earn 120K under proposed CFMEU pay deal. Labourers and junior stop sign holders working 36-hour weeks on construction sites will soon earn 120K per year under a new union pay deal. The militant CFMEU is set to sign a new workplace agreement that will see the union's workers, including the state's big build pocket, at least a 5% pay rise. The deal would mean basic labourers and traffic controllers who operate a stop and go paddle pop signs, will earn more than $2,000 a week over the 3-year agreement and pocket another $260 a week in travel allowance. The 120K year figure is for a basic 36-hour week. Those working overtime or more than 5 days a week would rake in much more. The average full-time weekly income is 1838 a week. The deal is on the verge of being inked despite concerns about high construction industry costs and allegations that CFMEU drives up the bills of builders in Victoria. Those concerns have seen the state's opposition launch fresh push for parliamentary inquiry into state-funded infrastructure based on site payment schedules it obtained for 2 taxpayer-funded road upgrades. Anyway, what do you think? Should people who hold stop signs and do traffic controlling be paid 120K per annum? I've seen a lot of discussion and hullabaloo about this on social media, especially from people saying things like, well, this is more than a teacher gets paid, or this is more than, such and such worker gets paid, and these people are just on the street holding up a stop sign. Have any of you ever done any work like this? Is it hard work? Is it difficult work? Now, I know they're outdoors the whole time. They're holding these signs in maybe hazardous conditions. A lot of the times when I drive past them, I've seen a few not paying attention. This is a common occurrence, and it looks quite easy when you look at it. But is it hard work? Is it hard as maybe being a teacher at a school who might be getting paid, 80K or 60 to 80K? I think it's the average. So there's a bit of disparity here, but this again shows you the power of these unions. It shows you potentially the weakness of governments in negotiating these type of contracts and how they curtail to these type of unions. Because when you look at the cost of building some of these projects out here, especially in the state of Victoria, it's overblown. Year on year, it just keeps going up and up by billions and billions. So is this a part of the issue that, we're in a situation now where people who hold stop signs in a construction site are getting 120K per annum? Let me know what your thoughts on this are. I know this seems like not a bit of a trivial story, but it goes to show you maybe where society is. Maybe it shows you that, you don't necessarily need to go to university to become a teacher or something to earn a good living. You could potentially just join up to one of these construction sites as a member of one of these unions and get this kind of cushy job. Now, I know it's not as easy as it sounds, but, makes you wonder how these jobs are being handed out and who is actually benefiting from this type of system. Next up, guys, I wanted to talk about the ABC, Australia's Broadcasting Corporation. They are hiring cultural advisors to ensure the taxpayer-funded broadcaster deals with sensitive stories appropriately. That's right, ABC will have people advising them on cultural sensitivities going forward, whatever that means. Let's have a read. The ABC has begun recruiting cultural advisors as a part of its move to help staff, including journalists, deal appropriately with cultural sensitive stories. The new measure to hire cultural guidance advisors was first revealed in the ABC's Diversity, Inclusion and Belonging Plan in July, shortly after the axing of more than 120 jobs at the public broadcaster, including 40 roles in the news division. Earlier this month, the ABC's head of Indigenous News, Suzanne Dredge, announced the journalists Miriam Kawa, Minnie Gunbal and Banda Jonalong Woman had been appointed as a senior cultural advisor in the news division. Miss Dredge said the move to introduce cultural advisors is one of the ways to ensure we better reflect on social and cultural diversity in our workplace and make our content more accessible to more Australians. The remit of this role is to provide informed advice and support across the division around awareness of Indigenous and diverse cultural issues, protocols, and opportunities, and support the inclusion of Indigenous and diverse perspectives and cultural issues, she said. Oh my God, why does it sound like our taxpayer funded ABC is about to get even more woke and virtue signally in the future? I can't believe they cut their news staff and content producers down so they could have diversity people directing how news should be told. Is every piece of news going to be scrutinized by these cultural advisors? Seems nonsensical to me. Let me know. Do you think it's a good idea? Next story, guys, is Tedros. That's right, the director of the World Health Organization. He's still out and about, that guy. He has not shut up since we saw him at the WEF. And the week prior to that, he was speaking at the World Health Organization headquarters as well. And he is harping on about the next pandemic. This is what he has to say. Whose chief dire warning? Disease X outbreak, a matter of when, not if. World Health Organization, WHO Director Tedros, has issued a new warning about the likelihood of disease X breaking out, telling global world leaders it's a matter of when, not if, a new pathogen and pandemic will strike. Tedros, who goes by his first name, told attendees at the World Government Summit in Dubai earlier this week. He gave a similar warning in 2018 that a pandemic was likely to hit, and he was proven right with the outbreak of the deadly coronavirus. Complaining that the world is still ill prepared for a new pandemic, Tedros once again touted the urgent need for a global treaty to be agreed upon by May and dismissed suspicious of it being a WHO power grab as outlandish. He called the treaty mission critical for humanity. Do you agree with Tedros? Is the WHO pandemic treaty mission critical for humanity? Because he is freaking out that he will not get people to sign up, enough countries to sign up to the WHO pandemic treaty by May for it to actually be a viable treaty? Or is it just him showboating and he's already got the numbers and he's just pretending? It's hard to say because it looks like at least the main Western nations are very much on board. It is the holdouts in some other parts of the world who are really testing the WHO at the moment. And Tedros is on a tour of some sorts to get these countries on board. So he's probably making a lot of face-to-face meetings in private behind closed doors, urging world leaders to sign up to the WHO pandemic treaty. This story, guys, is a funny story because I'm not one to really buy merchandise or something, but what I would purchase most likely is Donald Trump sneakers. Now, I'm not a sneaker guy or anything like this, but Donald Trump has released some brand new sneakers. I'll just give you a look at them. There you go. We got the gold sneaker with the T and the US flag. We've got T45 in red and white, and it's got Potus 45 as well. So Trump has put out some sneakers, and of course the left-wing media and all around the world, even in Australia, was making fun of him for it and saying that no one would want the sneakers. But they sold out the moment they were available, so it's fully sold out. Some pairs were sold for a few $1,000s with his signature very early on. And there's fun being made of Donald Trump saying that he's selling sneakers now because he's got to pay 400 something million dollars in New York because of his that nonsense case that we talked about yesterday from the New York, saying that because he paid back his loans in full with interest, and he overvalued his property, he now owes the state $450 million, even though there's no crime and there's no victim. I talked about it yesterday, so you can watch it on my video from yesterday. So pretty funny story. Trump sneakers. Yes, I would purchase Trump sneakers. Let's have a read of the story. Trump, this is from the Sydney Morning Herald, sorry. Trump heavily booed as he hawks 600 brand shoes at SneakerCon. As he closes in the Republican presidential nomination, former President Trump made a highly unusual stop, hawking new Trump-branded sneakers at SneakerCon, a gathering that bills itself as the greatest sneaker show on earth. Trump was met with loud boos as well as cheers at the Philadelphia Convention Center on Saturday as he introduced what he called the first official Trump footwear. There you see Trump and the golden boot. Now, it's very interesting that they've decided to go with this story around Trump heavily booed. Even on the Independent in the UK, Trump booed as he launches $390 sneaker the day after $350 million fraud fine. And the interesting part of all of that is the fact that when you listen to the actual conference, I don't think they're booing him. There's even chance of them saying this. Have a listen to this. But overwhelmingly, Trump was positively received by the crowd that was there. And they're very clearly chanting. Let's have a listen again. So really, this headline should say, Trump welcomed with messages of F Joe Biden as he's selling his $390 sneakers. That's what it should say. Goes to show you what the media decides to print is obviously always to frame Donald Trump in a negative light. So there's the Trump sneakers. This bloke here, he paid $9K for a Trump, the first pair, autographed and signed by Trump. But the thing is, even though they've paid this much for it, a lot of these boots that have been sold out now, these sneakers, they're available now online for even more than that because they're, I guess, limited run. Initially, they're all sold out. So they're online now being auctioned off for thousands and thousands of dollars because there would be people willing to have a pair of Trump sneakers. It's very popular. So let me know if you would purchase Trump sneakers. I know some people are saying it's like a grift and he's just selling whatever, but tell me, any other person that you can think of in politics potentially that can sell their own line of sneakers? Do you think people would buy Albanese or Peter Dutton sneakers here in Australia, or even, God forbid, Joe Biden merch? Do you think people would buy Joe Biden sneakers? Maybe Joe Biden can have a line of merchandise for people in nursing homes. Again, no offense, but he could have a line of merch for that. Maybe a line of, Depends, that type of product. He could endorse that. All right, guys, next story is a bit of a wild one, a bit of a crazy one, but not surprising in the current circumstances we live in. This is from Seattle. This is from Rants. Seattle students told it's white supremacy to love reading and writing. Students in Seattle English class were told that their love of reading and writing is a characteristic of white supremacy in the latest Seattle Public Schools high school controversy. The lesson plan has one local father speaking out, calling educational malpractice. As a part of the Black Lives Matter at School Week, World Literature and Composition students at Lincoln High School were given a handout with definition of 9 characteristics of white supremacy, according to the father of a student. Let's continue reading this. The Seattle high schoolers were told that the worship of the written word is white supremacy because it is erasure of the wide range of ways we communicate with each other. By this definition, the very subject of world literature and composition is racist. It also chides the idea that we hypervalue written communication because it's a form of honoring only what is written and only what is written to narrow standard full of misinformation and lies. The worksheet does not provide any context for what it actually means. This is crazy that there's actually these nutbags now teaching children that reading and writing is a form of white supremacy. It's complete nonsense. As someone who hails from a South Asian background with a long history of literature there in South Asia with Sanskrit and the contributions that language has made to even derivatives of the English language, right? Language and script, numbers, literacy, numeracy, all these kind of things is universal, and many different cultures have actually, made contributions to that historically. So I think this nonsensical issue that they're trying to teach children, that it's somehow white supremacist to want to know how to read and write, is only going to lead to more illiterate kids and future adults that have no idea about the world that they live in. They're going to look at the alphabet and literally freak out and need some sort of safe space to get away from words and language. Completely utter lunacy. And I don't want this kind of thing coming to Australia, but as it goes, most likely we will have some nutbag teacher here telling people that language is white supremacy. Next up, guys, on the theme of craziness, let's have a listen to Rachel Levine, who is the Assistant Secretary for Health. Let's see what she has to say about climate.
Hello, I'm Admiral Rachel Levine. This Black History Month, I'm pleased to partner with OMH in advancing better health through better understanding for Black communities. Climate change is having a disproportionate effect on the physical and mental health of Black communities. Black Americans are more likely than white Americans to live in areas and housing that increase their susceptibility to climate-related health issues. And 65% of Black Americans report feeling anxious about climate change's impact. Through our Office of Climate Change and Health Equity and the Office of Environmental Justice.
I'm going to stop it there. There's a lot of things going on in this video. Maybe you can pick up on some of those cues as well. But now they're trying to say that climate change disproportionately now, right? You take one concept, which is, of course, again, questionable, climate change and all the things that surrounds it. And now they're, combining that with, racism, white supremacy, literally, and saying that it disproportionately, climate change, of course, is also racist now, and it's impacting black people disproportionately. And they're coming up with all sorts of reasons for it. But this is the lunacy of the world that we live in. This individual, obviously, the fact that they hold this position in government and that they are sprouting this nonsense from their mouths as well. What is going on? I mean, America is so far gone. It's scary. It's scary to be seeing the indoctrination of people through this type of format. And last up, guys, we have this story from the UK, keeping with the same type of theme. Let's have a read of this because it's just crazy. I'll just read it. I don't think I need to explain the story. Row as hospitals say hormone-filled milk from trans women who were born male is just as good for the baby as the real thing. Drug-induced milk from transgender women who were born male is as good for babies as a mother's breast milk, an NHS trust has said. A leaked letter from the medical director of the University of Hospital Sussex Foundation Trust describes both as human milk and says that they are ideal food for infants. The letter was sent on behalf of the Trust chief executive in response to a campaign group's complaint about the Trust gender's policies. It defends the controversial practice of induced lactation by means of powerful medication to enable trans women to simulate breastfeeding. It also claims that the term human milk is meant to be more neutral and is not gender biased. But responding to the letter, Labour MP Rosie Duffield said babies can't be used as guinea pigs for someone else's lifestyle choices. I agree. I tend to agree with that MP, and it's crazy that now we're in this situation where hospitals, medical experts are inducing, trans women to lactate by using these heavy drugs, so they can then feed babies. Um, it is next level. Is all I can say about that. I would love to know your thoughts on this. Obviously, the way things are going, this is going to be happening in hospitals here in Australia as well. They will most likely be doing this type of guinea pig style experiments, which will be normalized if there isn't pushback against these type of things becoming normalized, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, that's all I have time for today. I hope you've enjoyed my news vlog today. I'll be back tomorrow in the evening. Until then, you can hit the subscribe button on YouTube or the notification bell to get updates as I post. You can also follow me on X, Instagram, Facebook, Odyssey, Rumble, and what else? Instagram? I think I said that. Anyway, guys, see you tomorrow. Bye.